Uther versus Anduin.
The light shall bring victory.
I will fight with honor.
So I'm trying out this new paladin deck I built, just testing the waters with it, and I played several games with it at this point. I'm just trying to gauge how good it is and what works and what doesn't. I've had pretty good success up against priests up until this point, however. But this game, I didn't really get the draws I was looking for. As soon as I saw what was in my hand, I was like, man, I am screwed. This is not going well at all. But as things progress, it starts to look a little better, but as you'll see, this game was extremely irritating for me because of everything that I did along the way. He had a counter to. And it didn't seem like I was ever going to make any progress. He kept doing damage to me, and I had nothing that I could really do in return. So, check out the game, and I'll pop in now and then to comment along the way.
To battle! Done.
When I saw this come out, I was a little perturbed by it. 10 damage, just like that on turn 4. I have got heals in my deck, but that's a huge advantage for him. If he had a follow-up for that, that would have been a big deal. But in my opinion, he should have probably saved those for late game. If I was down to 10 HP, he could have easily just used those for only 4 mana and killed me off. But being a paladin, I've got lots of heals in my deck, at least in this deck. So, as you can see as the game progresses, that wasn't really a big deal, because I just kind of kept restoring my HP. The problem are those Shadow Words of Pain and all this other removals, and you're going to see those in action here very shortly.
Truth is my shield.
Job done.
Truth is my shield.
I feel like this was a misplay here. I messed up my math and I thought that mine would kill his, but of course it's a 4-5, not a 5-5 or a 5-4. So I ended up wasting a good number of cards here to kill it, and it didn't really accomplish too much. So, yeah. And this isn't the first time I've messed up my math while playing, so I just need to slow down and think a little more before I do things like this. You know, no doubt about it, definitely a misplay, totally screwed up here, and it hurt me later on.
Justice shall prevail.
This again, looking back in retrospect, I don't think was a great play because I didn't really have any spells to use with it. So it was really ultimately a pointless 1-1 and really got me nothing. And as you can see, he just silences it and completely makes it useless anyway. And then, of course, Shadow Word Death comes out and gets rid of my recently buffed creature, so now I've got Jack on the board once again. He just is full of removal spells, and it seems like every time I start to get any sort of momentum in this game, he just slaps me back down again.
Tadingo! The battle! Reporting for duty. Pandaria will be ours!
I should have seen the Holy Nova coming. That was very painful. It once again killed any momentum that I had. I'm able to pick off his 1/7 here, but it's really not a lot of value for the cards. I could have used it to do damage directly to him instead, but I needed to get rid of the taunt. I couldn't let that stay on the board to protect whatever else he might have in his hand.
Reporting for duty.
At this point, I'm running out of cards. I don't really have a lot of options. And while I've got my heals, my consecrate and such, there's really nothing else I can do because he just took out all my creatures with a couple of Holy Novas and Shadow Words of Pain. He's starting to run low on removal, but he's also got mind control. So it wasn't looking fantastic, and I kept having to do kind of inefficient plays to make up for my earlier mistakes, as well as all of the removal that he had in his deck.
Follow the rule. For justice.
Right now, things are looking pretty grim, and I didn't want to have to do this play. This play was not fantastic. Luckily, he didn't seem to have a lot of creatures in his deck, or at least he wasn't really getting them. So this prevented me from taking more damage and cleared the board, but I really hated having to use them like that, but I had no other options. I have a 1/1 on the board. He's destroyed all of my creatures up until this point. So I'm just trying to survive long enough to top deck something useful. And that's really about it right now.
For justice.
I hated using my weapon in that way, but I wanted him to get minimum card draw out of that. and that's the only way I could do it with what I had in my hand. See, now, I've healed myself, I'm all the way back up to 30, so that made his earlier damage to me completely null and void. The 10 damage that he did right off the bat could have been saved for something more significant. Of course, then he just destroys this minion too, so once again, I have a 1-1 on the board, and I have nothing useful in my hand except the humility, which is handy here. It prevents some incoming damage, but it doesn't solve the situation that I'm in.
That's not a valid target.
But then I got this, and this is where everything changed. I put that guy into my deck because I see a lot of Divine Shields, at least at my level, and I have Divine Shields in my deck as well. So I knew that all I had to do was just get him in my hand, and the game would be back in my favor. And sure enough, I go from having a 1-1 to 11 damage on the board, and he loses his Divine Shield, so his guy is now completely and mostly useless. He can take out my 1-1, but that's it.
I must consider.
At this point in the game, I'm pretty sure he went AFK, or he just rage quit or whatever. Like, he just stopped doing stuff as soon as I got this on the board. And unfortunately, that just tends to happen. Now, it's important to remember that this is low-level play. I'm certainly not an expert. I've been playing the game for about 2 days at this point. I don't know how long this guy's been playing the game, but mistakes were made on both sides. But it was looking very grim for me for quite a while there, and I just top-decked some interesting and useful cards. The Defender of Argus here was beautiful, and there was just no coming back at this point for him. There was nothing that he could do about this.
Reporting for duty.
I was incredibly surprised that I even got this up. I'm not even sure why I bothered attacking that guy. I guess I was just so secure in my lead there. I was like, screw it, I'm just going to bring him down to 1 life. And then, of course, with my next draw, after he, again, doesn't move or respond or anything, it just gets even more ridiculous.
Must move quickly.
For Lorthamar!
The battle!
Into the breach!
Reporting for duty.
Yep.
The light shall
And
burn you.
there's nothing he can do at this point. The whole point of me posting this game was to show that even if you make mistakes, if things are grim in the beginning and you're uncertain of what to do, well, just hang on. As long as you have a decent amount of HP and you know that you have things in your deck, sometimes RNG will be on your side, but other times, maybe they'll make a mistake too. You're not out until you're out. As long as you still have 1 HP, you can potentially make a comeback. So that's why I try not to give up until the absolute very end, when I know that there is nothing I can do, and no matter what card I draw, it's not going to do anything. As you see here, I went from a 1-1 with nothing in my hand to this. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll post more games as I play them. See you next time.